Homish and Rashi, a new week, a new Torah portion. We are in Parshas Balak. Balak, the king of Moab. Let's get right into it. Fascinating Parsha. Lots to learn. Coming. All right. What? I made a bracha already. L'chaim, everybody. Oh, David's coffee. Okay. 1047 in the booklet. Okay. V'yar Balak. And Balak saw. What did he see? Ben Tzipor, the son of Tzipor, it's called Asher Asa Yisrael Amori. All that was done by the Israelites to the Amori, to the Amorites. He saw. Let's see Rashi. Rashi, other words, that Balak saw, son of Tzipor, all that the Israelites did to the Amori. Amar, to Moav, he said to Moav, he said to Moav, Elu, Shnei Malachim, these two kings, Sichain and Og, Shayinu Betuchim Aleim, that we had our security was pending on them. Lo Yamdu Bifneihem, and they didn't stand up before the Israelites. Anu Alachs Kama B'Kama, us, how much more so? We're weaker. We can't stand up to them. Lefikach, therefore, V'yoga Moav was frightened. As he continues into the next verse, V'yoga Moav. And Moav was frightened. Because of the nation. Ma'oid, very much so. Kirav hu, because they are numerous. Yakatz Moav, mipnei b'nei Yisrael. And they became yakatz, it became, translates here, sick.
That's one.
Yes.
Why did they make a truce?
Huh? Why did they make a truce?
Yeah. They were so afraid, why didn't they surrender?
Who wants to surrender? Everybody wants to be independent, to be their own, right?
Good answer, thank you. But they never did.
Well, that's why he did. Well, let's follow the story. Okay, the Yalgar Lashon Meira, the word Yalgar means it's an expression of fear. Kamai Gurei Lachem, fear for yourselves. We see that in Yakatz Moav, and Moav was disgusted, or here it says sick. Different translation. Kotsu b'chayehim. They were sick with their lives, disgusted with their lives. Kamoi, kotsu b'chayai. I'm disgusted with my life. Uhu mikra kotsu. It's an abbreviated verse. Okay. All right. Verse number 4. Vayarma Moav. So Moav said, El Ziknei Midyan, to the elders of Midyan. By the way, just for reference, Moav is up here, across from Canaan. There's Chevron. Here's where Moav is, up north. Midyan is down here. Okay, in the Sinai Desert. Okay. So Moav said to the elders of Midyan, Ata now, Yalachichu HaKahal. this congregation or this it says assembly. And now this Yelachachu, they will lick up, devour this congregation. It's called Hasivuseinim, all of our surroundings. Kalecha Chashor, like the like a bull licks up, devours, is Yarek Hasada, the green of the field. Balak ben Zippor, and Balak, the son of Zippor, Melech, was the king, Lamaya Beis Hahi, at that time. Okay, let's see Rashi. In number 4, Elzikne Midyan. So they were speaking to the elders of Midyan. Were they not hating each other, these two countries, these two nations? Shenemar, as it says, as we have in the book of Bereshis, Genesis, right, that who struck Midian in the field of Moav. We speak there in story of, which story was that? Hold on. Give me a moment. The end of Parshat Vayishlach. Okay. It speaks about the descendants of Esav, right? Yishlach is the story of when reunion of Yaakov and Esav. So at the end there, it speaks about the generations there. So they hated each other, right? These nations. But guess what? But out of the fear that they have for the Israelites, also they made peace between themselves. Oh, that's interesting. You see, we got a historical precedent over here. For the hatred that there is for the Jews, other nations will make, right? Like the Mufti in Jerusalem, right? In the Second World War, did with the Hitler. Hitler hated the Mufti, but make a truce between them in order to fight, the Jews, for sure. Okay.
Enemy of my enemy is your brothers.
Huh?
Enemy of my enemy becomes my brothers.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And what do I see? In order to take advice from Midian. Why they take advice from Midian? There's other nations around there. Was Israel, because since they saw the Israelites that they saw that they were winning in such an unusual, extraordinary manner. Amr, they said, the leader of these Israelites, he grew up in Midian. You remember? Moshe, when he left as a young man after slaying the Egyptian, he went to Midian. He was there for 40 years in Midian. Right? So they went to find out about this Moses, right? And they asked him, what kind of trait? What's special about him that he's such a powerful leader that is they're wiping nation after nation? Amr lahem, so they said to him that his power is nothing but his mouth. Amru, they said, so we will also come against the Israelites, with the person who has a power in his mouth, right? Not the sword. They tried the sword, other nations, it didn't work, right? In other words, what does it mean with his mouth? Prayer, exactly. So we'll get someone who also has that power. Like an ox that chews up, that licks up, anything that short chews up, bracha has no sign of blessing in it. Psh. Right?
So they're fighting fire with fire.
Exactly. Yeah. Beisahi, that it was the king, that Balak was the king at that time. What does that mean? He was the king at that time. Meaning he was not fit for kingship. He didn't become king because of the normal order of succession. He was prince of Midian, Balak. Even Shemei Sichain died, right? The king of the Amorites, Minu Alehem. So the Moabites appointed him over them, because of necessity, the emergency measures at that time. No, that's what it means at that time. And it was a call of the hour. They needed him, right? The call of the hour. Okay, verse number 5. Huh? Yeah. Number 5. Yishtach malachim. And he sent messengers, El Bilam, to Bilam, ben Baor, the son of Baor, Pseira, to Pseira. Asher al Nahar, which is on the river, Eretz Bnei Amai, the land of his people. And it's near the river land of Likralai, to call for him, Lamor, to say, saying, Hine, behold, a nation, Yotzim Mitzrayim, that went out of Egypt. Hine Kisas Ein Haaretz, it is covering up it's coming up the land, the eye of the land. And now they're stationed opposite me. This is the message. Rashi in 5. Pseira. Right? Pseira is a place. Kishochani Azeh. Bilam was like a money changer. It's a metaphor. Shakol Meritzim Loimos. Everybody's rushing to bring him money. Right? That's what money changer, right? You bring the money, right? For exchange. Kach Kol Malachim Meritzim. So all the kings, they would rush their letters to him. That's interesting. In other words, I guess.
There's a mercenary?
No, in other words, he would interpret their letters, I guess. Right? We're talking about someone, he's a prophet. Bilam is a prophet, an evil prophet, but he's a prophet. He has got a power, right? As a prophet. So people would bring their letters. I don't know what it means, what the letters are, but whatever it means, that he would interpret it as a prophet. Well, but according to the simple meaning, it's the name of a place. Why Rashi doesn't leave with the simple explanation, and he first puts something that doesn't sound according to the simple explanation? Don't know. Okay, Eretz Bnei Amai. Next Rashi, the land of the people of his nation. Shel Balak, of Balak. In other words, not the land of Bilam's people, because obviously Bilam lived among his own people, but it means Balak's people, I guess, from Midian, right? And Balak was from there. And Bilam used his prophecy, and he would say to him, he told them that you are destined to be a ruler. If you will say, I said, now if you're going to ask a question, why would God put his divine presence al goy Russia on this wicked non-Jew? Why would he do it? Rashi continues this as he explains, in order that the nation should not have an excuse to say, if we would have had prophets, we would have repented and be good people.
Who's asking this question? Why did
Rashi's asking this
So
question.
you will be king in the future and you should ask.
Bilam, no. Bilam told Balak, right? Because they lived together in the same place in Midian, right?
This holy presence. They recognize the Shem. They recognize the Shem.
Yeah, Bilam recognizes God. Of course he does. Well, we'll see. Let the story play out. Okay.
Yes.
Right. And we'll see why he's wicked. Right. Let's wait for as it plays out. Right. But the point over here he's asking Rashi, right? Why would God allow his presence to be with a wicked person? Because the nation shouldn't come and say, well, we would have been good people, and repented if we would have had a prophet.
But Rashi
right?
asking the question.
Rashi's asking this question exactly. So God did give them prophets, but they breached the fence of the world, meaning meaning the boundaries that were appropriate boundaries, they breached. For originally, they restrained themselves in sexual immorality. Interesting. Right? Then they did that. But this one, Bilam, Nelson, gave advice him, the business, how to abandon themselves and to be immoral sexually.
Wow. For a while they were like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, next Rashi. Likra loy, to summon him. They went to summon him. Akriya haisa shaloi. The summoning was his own. Lahanasa, in other words, for his benefit. Shaya Pesach loy, that Balak said for him, Maman Harbe, a lot of money. Giving him a lot of money to do his work. This is the people that went out of Egypt. And if you will say, Mom, how does that harm you? I will reply. So the fact they went out of Egypt, what's the point of that? Rashi's saying, so I'll explain to you why that's important that you need to know, right? The messengers, this is part of the message they're giving to Bilam, that this is a nation that went out of Egypt. Well, what's Egypt got to go? It's not that they went out of Egypt that's important. It's the fact that they are conquering nation after nation, right? So why is he saying this? So Rashi said, I'll explain to you. He continues now. He says, they have covered the eye of the land. Sichan and my son of that they used to guard us. Amdu aleim, they stood against them. Bahargum, and they killed them. Right? That was last week's parsha. And now they are dwelling opposite me. Opposite from, right? Moab, Chaser Ksiv. The word mimuli is written lacking a letter. The full spelling would be with a vav, but it's missing that, right? Kroivim heim la'achrisenu. They're about to cut us off. Kamoi ki amilam. Mal, from the word mal, like circumcision. They're about to cut us off. They're next to us, opposite us, ready to cut us off. That's the way the word is spelled.
What?
Huh? Yeah. Or mila. Yeah, moil is from the word mila, right? Circumciser that circumcises. Right. Okay. Verse number 6. Vata, now. Lachana. So now he says, please. Lachana, come. Lacha means come. No, please. Aralanu. Curse for us. As this nation. Remember, the power of Moshe was with his mouth. So they're getting someone who's also got a power in his mouth to curse the people. Curses because they are too powerful for me. Perhaps I will be able to strike them and to drive them out from the land. Because whoever you bless is blessed, and whoever you curse is cursed. Right? I know that. Right? This is the message to him. That you have the power to bless and you have the power to curse. Rashi in 6, Nakaboy, that we will strike it. Ani ve'ami, I and my people, Naka bahem, we will strike at them. Davar acher, an alternative explanation, what it means over here to strike. Lashon Mishnah, who Naka we find in the language of the Mishnah, right, that means minaka loy min adamim, deducting from the price, chaser loy ma'at, to diminish him somewhat. Another explanation, naka doesn't mean to strike, right? But it means to diminish somewhat, right? A little bit, and it's not entirely. The word could mean two different things. No, yeah. Kiyadaiti, because I know that through the war of Sichaim, she'azartai, because you assisted him, lahakas is Moab, in striking Moab. I'm not sure what that means. But that Bilam helped Sichaim to strike Moab, like somewhere in the past. Okay. V'yelchu, and they went. Ziknei Moab, the elders of Moab, Ziknei Midian, the elders of Midian, Uksamim biyadam, and they had magic charms. It translates over here in their hands. In other words, they were going right with that. V'yavoy el Bilam, and they came to Bilam, v'yidabru elav, and they spoke to him. Divrei Balak, the words of Balak, they conveyed the message. Rashi in number 7, what does it mean that they had charms? They had magic in their hand. They had all sorts of charms of magic. The Bilam should not say that I don't have the implements that I need, for the business over here. He shouldn't, and others, that he shouldn't come up with an excuse why he can't do it. Oh, you don't have all your charms, all of your magic, you don't have your bag of tricks. Oh, we brought bag of tricks for you, right? Alternatively, the elders of Midian, they took the charms in their hands for Omru. They said, if Bilam will come with us at this time, then we know that he really has something to him. Right? But if he will push us off, there's nothing to be gained from him. That's why when he said to him, spend the night here, they said, they said there's no hope. They gave up hope on him. And they left. The elders of Midian left, not from Moab. As we will see shortly. Because the verse says, the officer, it says that the officers of Moab stayed by Bilam, but the elders of Midian, they went off. Right, we're gonna see that shortly. Well, we're going to see the next verse, actually.
It is shortly.
Yes. Yeah.
That's short.
Yeah. Can't get shorter. Right. So Rashi's explaining over here that the Ksumim Biyadam was in their hand. Like he gives a second explanation, right? about the Midjan, the elders, they came with it because we got to see if is he really got the power or not got the power, right? So the fact that he says he pushes them off, as we will see, right, that they stay the night rather than answering, they already were suspect, and that's why in the next verse we will see, right? Let's go to it. We will see that only the ones that returned, I mean, the only ones that stayed overnight were the officers of Moab. Let's see, verse number 8. So he responded to them, Linu po alayla, stay over the night. And I will reply to you. Hashivais means to reply. Eschem to you. Davar, a thing. And in other words, I'll tell you, Kasher yidaber, as it will be spoken to me, Hashem Elai, as God will speak to me. Remember, he's a prophet. So prophet means he's giving over the word of God, right? Yesh Rusarim Mayab. So they stayed over, the officers of Moab in Bilam, with Bilam. Right? Where did the Midianite elders go? Where'd they go? Why? Because they felt that no, he's not really. He doesn't have with him, because otherwise he would have responded right away. Yeah, Lina Laila, spend the night here. Why the night? Right? They came during the day. They didn't come at night. They came during the day. Right? People don't travel at night. Not right. They travel by the day. Right. So why at night? Because the Holy Spirit does not come to but at night. The whole all the prophets of non-Jewish nations of the world. Lavan, also by Lavan, we saw that God appeared to him by a dream at night. It says, if you remember in Bereshis, right? Lavan was the father-in-law of Yaakov, right? And Lavan was very difficult to Yaakov, right? With the sheep and with his, the daughters and everything, right? He tricked them, a whole bunch of stuff, right? So remember, he escaped with his family. Yaakov escaped, and Lavan came after them. God came in a dream to him at night, right?
Prophets of the nations. So there's several prophets of the nation.
Yes. Like a man who goes to his concubine secretively, hiddenly. So it's like God, it's to a holy person, God's coming by day. To Moshe Rabbeinu, God's speaking by day, right? Not speaking at night. But to prophets who are evil people, right? God's coming to them at night. Like Lavan, like now, Bilam. That's why he says stay the night. Because I'm not going to get direction from God except by nighttime. As Hashem will speak to me, if it will advise me to go with people such as you, I'll go with you. Perhaps it will not be keeping in his honor, in God's honor, to allow me to go, but with officers that are greater than you. See, you see how he's evil? What's he saying? God's going to speak to me, right? Whether I should go with you. In other words, you might not be honorable enough to go with. Yeshru, and stay over, Lashon HaKavah, that means stay over. Yeah. Oops. All right. Verse number 9. Yahweh Elohim el Bilam, and indeed he came. God came to Bilam. Right? Doesn't say Hashem, Yitke Vavke, but Elohim. Right?
Elohim, yeah.
Elohim, we don't pronounce, right?
Judge.
Judge, it's the name of God it's not beyond nature, but within nature, and therefore it's plural, the plurality, right? He's not truly nullified to God. He's not nullified to God, therefore there isn't a oneness. Okay, El Bilam came to Bilam, and he said, Mi hanashim ha'ela, who are these people that are with you? What's going on up here? God doesn't know. Who are these people with these men with you? God came to give him room to err. Amar. As a result of this question, Bilam said, Pami, there are times, Shena kol go in the fun of them, everything's revealed before God. His mind is not always equal, right? He's not always aware of things. I too will find a time that I'll be able to curse the Israelites. And God will not understand what I'm doing. No, but do you understand what Rashi just did? Rashi's explaining. What does it mean that what's God asking? Who are these people? God doesn't know. Huh? Does God know who they are? Huh?
Yes.
So why did God say that? No. I mean, I don't know if in the end a fool, but that's not, no, that's what Rashi said. Rashi didn't say to make a fool out of him, to make him err. What would he err? If God is God, why would he ask who are they? He knows who they are. What's the message he's getting from that, from God? That God doesn't know everything. In other words, there'll be a moment that I will be able to find that God's going to be upset with the Jewish people. That moment I'm going to curse them. I'm going to find that moment where God's going to be upset and God won't be aware. As he's not aware now because he's asking, who are they? So he's making room for him to err, to think that he could actually curse. Got it? You got to follow. You got to be very careful. Got to get careful. We're learning Chumash and Rashi and nothing else. When we are so focused on that, then we'll get clear what Rashi is saying. Otherwise, we're getting whatever kind of. We're not getting it. We're not getting it clear, and that's why every word in Rashi we have to be. Rashi didn't say make a fool. He said to err. It's true in the end that will make him a fool, but that's not what he said, right? So we've got to be very precise in what he is saying, and we see how he's taking it out of these words, Rashi. What do you mean God's asking, who are these? Right? Oh, God doesn't know who these are, then there's an opportunity for me at another time that he won't be fully aware, and I'll be able to curse the Jews. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, number 10. Bilam and Bilam said, El came to God, Balak ben the son of Tzipor, Melech Moav, the king of Moav, Shalach Alai, sent for me. Okay, let's see some more haughtiness over here. Can you pick up on it? Balak, the son of Tzipor, the king of Moab, even though he's not esteemed in your eyes, God, I am esteemed in the eyes of the kings. As he knew, right? He didn't have to say he's the king of Moab, right? Saying the king of Moab, like, he thinks of me special, right? How many times do we say to another person, right? Oh, but I was with yesterday. Da da da. Oh, why you say that? because that made you, feel special, that someone else thought you were special because you were with them, even though maybe the person you're with might not think that you're so special. So you had to, say that. Okay. 11. So he continues, Bilam, to tell God, behold, the nation that went out of Egypt, and they're covering the eye of the land. Ata now, come and you will curse them for me. Right? This is Bilam saying what Balak had sent for him, right? Say, curse them for me. Maybe I'll be able to fight against them and drive them out. Right? In other words, with Bilam's curse, maybe they will be able to fight the war and right. Kavali Rashi in number 11. Curse for me. This is the word kava is even stronger than ara. Go to verse 6. Verse 6, it says, oh, the word ar, aleph resh, means to curse, right? Kava is stronger than curse, a stronger term.
Isn't Aleph Resh here?
Ara is just aleph resh, I think is the root word.
It's right here because it's a Arali.
And I don't know, maybe it's feminine. I'm not certain. I don't think the hay is part of the root. But anyway, whatever. The point over here is he doesn't use the same word. He said the same expression that that they're covering the eye of the land. They went out of Egypt and they're covering the eye of the land. But when it comes to the curse, he's using a stronger term. Right? The word kava is a stronger term than ara, more severe. Right? To invoke a curse upon, for me, it specifies, it states and curse clearly.
Enunciate.
Yeah, Gerashtiv, and I will drive them out. From there we learn that Bilam hated the Jews even more than Balak hated the Jews. Well, we'll see later. Rashi is going to bring that out if I recall correctly.
You have to use the word stronger than Balak did.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it'll be later on we'll see that too. When it comes to actually cursing, yeah. Anyway, Gerashtiv, and I will drive them out. Ilam from the world. Balak lo yamar elam shenum mina aretz. Ah, right. Balak didn't say this. Again, another thing. Balak said to drive them from the land, which implies means only that they should get away from me, travel away from me, curse them so they will leave me alone. Right? Well, Bilam and Bilam hated the Israelites more than Balak did. That's what we learn from this verse. Right? Because he wanted to drive them out, period, from the world, not just from, before me, and it shouldn't be a pain for me. Verse number 12, the final verse for today. And God said to Bilam, don't go imahem with them. Don't curse. Esa'am, the nation. Ki baruch hu, for they are blessed. Rashi 12. Don't go with them. Ella, rather, sorry, don't go with them. Amar lo, he said to them, Balaam said to God, Imkain, okay, you tell me not to go? If so, I'll curse them where I am. In other words, say not to go with them, okay, so I'll curse them from here. So I won't go. Amar lo, God said to him, don't curse the people at all, in other words. Don't curse them, right?
Why would he Anyways, never mind.
Amalai. So Bilam said to God, Imkain, if that's the case, if you Imkain, if you don't want me to curse them, Avarchem, let me bless them. Amalai, God said to him, man, they don't need your blessing, Ki Baruch Hu, because they are blessed.
We say it's the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants.
Right? Because that's why the extra words, Ki Baruch Hu, why do you have to, because they're blessed. Just don't curse. Why do you have to say they're blessed? Why? Because he wanted to bless them. Which I don't get exactly. Why would Bilam want to bless the Jewish people?
Is he being sarcastic?
No. Mashal, this is a metaphor. You say to the wasp, neither your honey, and not from your sting. Right. In other words, I don't want your honey, I don't want your sting. Right? That's the same that what God is saying to Bilam, right? I don't want your sting, the curse, and I want your honey, your blessings. Okay.
He wanted to give a blessing just for the fact that he wanted to prove that he's a prophet to himself or to whoever.
What?
He wanted to bless them instead of curse them. At least he will prove to himself or to others that he's a prophet. It was an ego thing.
Meaning?
Trying to get.
Why do you want to bless? You're saying? I don't know. It's a good question. I don't.
He's trying to get something out of the deal.
I guess maybe because he's getting paid, so he's got to say something. Right? In other words, you told me to use my mouth, right? You want to curse, right? I mean, that's what's going to happen in the end. But it's interesting. So the obvious question is, in the end, God does. Oh, I mean, we're gonna continue the story, obviously, but wow, there's over 30 people learning right now. Besides here.
But it's not unusual for them to use the wasp as the metaphor because
The what?
does not give honey. It's a bee. So it seems to me, I don't know what's the correct word to use here, but it's almost ironic. Or right. So we say to the wasp, give us neither your honey nor your sting. Obviously, there's a sting from a wasp.
So in the footnote over here, it says it's some text they say it's a bee, not a wasp.
White Anglo-Saxon Protestant.
Wow, fascinating.
Yeah, I love this.
Okay. So here, remember we had the question about why the blessing, right?
Yeah.
So here, I see in a footnote. Because in his blessing, he means evil. And that's what the metaphor of I don't want your honey and I don't want your sting. Because when you get the bee's honey, what are you prone to get? A sting. You're prone to get the sting. In other words, your honey is mixed with the sting, so it's too close at hand. So even if you're going to bless, you're gonna try to manipulate in order so you can get the sting in, that you can get the curse, right? So that's what that answers our question of why he would say that. Then the commentators ask the question. So then why later on God allows him? Because then it was God's blessing through him, and it was pure. Now it was his intent. His intent was pure evil, and therefore God says no. But later on, and why that happens, we'll have to. Hey, you have to come back. What a story!
manipulator.
This is this story over here that we're learning,
Takes time to understand it.
of course. Actually, I'm going to share with everybody. I have there's interesting website that has questions, Chumash Rashi test,
Wow.
that you can get tested on the parsha, how well you know it. And I don't know if it's still happening, but anybody gets 80% or more on the test, they on a monthly basis they give them $100.
How you doing?
Huh?
How you doing?
I just found out today. This first I never found, I didn't know this just this morning. Someone told me about
May
it.
you get the $100.
No, may you get it. May everyone get it. That you learn and you know it so well that you got 80% on your test. To know Chumash and Rashi. That's where you better pay attention and stop thinking your own thoughts on what you understand, what is you're projecting on what's being said. Very important. Learn Chumash with Rashi, understand Rashi, what Rashi is saying, and not what we are projecting.
What's saying in the moment?
Huh? I'm going to send it to you. I'll send it to everybody.
So what are
Okay.
you saying in the moment? If you're in the moment, you can't think anything other than what.
Chumash Rashi tests at gmail.com. I guess you have to, that's how you sign up.
Rashi. At Gmail, so it's a.
Oh no, okay. No, I have a doc. I have a whatchamacallit.
What's the call?
Uh,
Good brain. What's
Here, 1 second. Maybe I just sent it to you. Maybe. Hold on, I'm gonna put it up. Okay, can you put it up on the link over here? Put it up on the whatchamacallit,
The chat.
on the chat. Or oh no, 1 second. What am I doing? Yeah. Hold on. Give me a second. Copy. Okay, I'm putting it in. There it is. I just put it on the chat here. so you can copy it. You have the form. Okay. And there we go. Okay, I just put it up over here. All right, folks.